So I just read the Silmarillion Part 1, so an Enulindale. So just so you guys know, at first I planned to do a video a week for the Silmarillion. It's not, it's too long to wait a week actually. So what I'm gonna do is just, read a part, then review it, read another part right after that, and then review it, because it just, if I were to wait a week, I would lose some stuff, because it's not a long read as I thought. It's not as long a read as I thought it would be. And also I'm really liking it, and I'm, reading a lot. I'm reading it fast actually. So yeah, I'm just going to read a part, review it right after I've read it. So I just finished reading that first part. I've not started the second part just yet, but I've read the first part. I've watched Rings of Power episode 1 and 2, which is another video that I'm gonna do right after this actually. So first part of the Silmarillion, essentially it's kind of the Genesis from the Bible, meaning, it's just the start of everything. So at first there were just this one guy whose name is Ilúvatar, or Ilúvatar, by, I think that's the name that the elf gave him actually. And by the way, the names, I'm not gonna try to pronounce it in any weird way or whatever. I'm just gonna, say the names as I think from my French language, French accent or whatever, how they're supposed to be said or anything. I might pronounce them with a quote-unquote English accent or something, but just so you guys know, I'm not gonna try to, like in the Rings of Power, say Galadriel or Sauron or anything like that. I'm gonna talk more about that in the video about the Rings of Power, but that's another topic entirely. But yeah, at first there was this one guy, so Eru, who dreamt other beings and the world also. He's not only dreamt but thought about all these things, and they just come into being. So the main beings that he thought of were the Ainur, and then he thought of Ea, so the world that is, Ea, I don't know, Ea, maybe. But yeah, he thought of all these things, and they become essentially real afterwards. The Ainur that went to Ea are now called the Valar, and one of them is Melkor. And this is something that I think actually will come into play later on, because Melkor is essentially the impersonation of evil. He's Satan, he's the devil, all these things. So I'm pretty sure he'll be like the first guy before Morgoth and Sauron. Kind of their master, I think. I might be wrong, that's just from reading the first part. And that's why I want to make these videos as I'm reading the parts, because I want to try and guess maybe where stuff is going from reading the books, the Lord of the Rings books, knowing a little bit about the lore from the books and movies, and from the Hobbits also. Some war happened between the other Valar and Melkor. So Melkor is kind of the strongest of the Valar, essentially. Not much is known from that first part, though, because nobody was there, so the story, quote-unquote, hasn't started yet. But yeah, the elves weren't there, the human or the dwarves don't exist yet. So that's why, there's no recordings or anything about this. I really enjoy this first part. It's really abstract And yeah, I really dig it. It's very different from The Lord of the Rings, actually, and I really enjoy that. So that's it for that first part. So next video, I'll be talking about the Rings of Power. I want to, review the Rings of Power coming from reading The Lord of the Rings, just reading them, and while reading the Silmarillion, to just compare everything and my level of enjoyment of the show, actually. That's it for that review. So next video will be for the Rings of Power. So coming this we are Thursday right now. Coming this Saturday is going to be the Rings of Power episode 1 and 2 review. After that video, so next Monday-ish thing, is going to be Valaquenta, so the review for Silmarillion Part 2, and we'll see kind of the agenda for everything else afterwards. So yeah, I really want to put all of these videos as fast as possible because I want to talk about Silmarillion, because I think I'll really enjoy this book. From the first 12 pages, I can see already that this is gonna be, that I'm gonna like this book, actually. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.